Welcome, I'm Donna Smith, and this is Sound Advice. On Sound Advice, I like to talk about professional and personal development. But today I want to cover Stop Disease Madness. Now, if you know someone who suffers from diabetes or aches or hypertension, heart issues, their cholesterol is elevated, the bad cholesterol is high, the good cholesterol is low, or they're fatigued, this is a program for you. And the message that I'm going to give to you could change your life. So please, stay tuned. Now, I say stop the madness because I feel it is madness. It is madness if you're taking a whole lot of drugs, a lot of medicine, and you still don't feel good. And you're paying a lot of money for all of this medical treatment. And every drug that you take, there are side effects. Some of the side effects could include diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, drowsiness, aches, hives even, or heart issues. Well, who wants that? But I'm going to say this, and this is my disclaimer. I'm not saying don't take anything that your physician has prescribed for you. I definitely want you to follow that plan. But what I'm going to suggest to you, and you'll hear more as you hear the entire message, is things that you can do to go along with your physician's plan so that maybe you can either reduce some of the medicine or in some instances you don't have to take it. That's what I want. Because my question to you is, do you want to live a longer life? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to have a vibrant life? Then if you do, then there are certain things that you would have to do if you're having some of those issues. Now, for those who are joining me the first time, I have a dual background. My background is in public health. I'm a registered dietitian, but I also have a background in administration. Now, some people just know me on the health side, and I get a lot of people that will come to me and they'll ask me questions about health, or they want me to write them a diet, etc. But then I realized, because of all of those questions that I was getting, that there's a theme. And when I was teaching in the South, and we're talking the Deep South, I'm telling you, I was exposed to some of the best cooks I thought ever. I mean, those mouth-watering recipes that a lot of the Southern cuisine that I was exposed to was delicious. And I liked the food. But I realized when I would look at the table of all of those wonderful food dishes, and I knew some of the people, some of them were my friends, some were co-workers. I knew some of the health issues that they were having. I saw a theme. And you have to make a connection. And the connection is, we are what we eat. And so with that in mind, I decided to write a book, and I did. I wrote this book, Whole Food, Soul Food, Finger-Licking Way to Fight the Fat. And basically, I wanted to outline some things that you can do to make adjustments to the foods that you love. Because I want you to enjoy the foods that you love, but definitely they have to be changed, they have to be tweaked to make them healthier. Because we are killing ourselves with our fork, and we can live better. And I know that there is a way out. And I talk to some of these people and they believe that they're just stuck and this is the way life has to be because of their genetics or what. That's not true. We know, regardless of your genetics, regardless of any other reason that you can think of, there are people who are being successful, but they're being committed to what they do. Now, I know some of you may think, man, healthy food, it doesn't taste good. It's just too expensive. I don't know how to do it. But you can do it. A lot of people do it. And let me tell you, my publisher of that book that I showed you, Whole Food, Soul Food, he said that some of the people on his staff, they just rave over those recipes. As a matter of fact, he's coming out with the Kindle version of that book. And the Kindle version would be Vegetarian Southern Classic Cookbook. And again, it's if you belong to Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. But if you don't, it's going to be less than $8 in the Kindle version. You can eat good food, you can tweak it, and it can still be good. And that's what I want you to do because changes have to be made. Now in my field, I have to do a lot of reading. I have to read a lot of research and books on health and wellness. So I was reading this book by these two doctors, And in the book, they gave all of these real life stories of patients that they had. And it was really amazing that some of these patients, there was almost no hope for them. I mean, they've had bypass surgery, or they didn't want to have bypass surgery, and sometimes I remember this one story. The man had triple bypass surgery, and then after the surgery he felt better, but a couple of months or so up the road he started feeling bad again. Now, he didn't have any hope. You can't have triple bypass surgery every several months. That's just not a recourse for you. So he was able to put him on a plan, and by putting him on this plan that he followed, he got amazing results, and he was able to extend his life by many years and living those years vibrantly. And that's what you want. But again, all of these stories basically ended up with the people losing weight. They were able to walk with people who could not walk hardly, and they weren't out of breath. They could walk all the way up to maybe an hour a day and do a number of things that they used to do when they were much, much younger. So their cholesterol improved, diabetes improved, hypertension, heart issues, all of it because of some of their changes. So this is what you can do. Well, you can start by first checking with your health professional and letting them know what your goals are. And then I want you to be committed. Again, you must be committed, because the changes that I read in the studies of that book that I was telling you about with those real life stories, those people were committed. This is not a hit and miss, a come and go. This is not a yo-yo diet, nothing like that. They were determined that their life was important and their life was on the line. Then you need to look at ways to lower your cholesterol. Cholesterol only comes from animal and animal products. So any meat or flesh, if it breathes at one time, it's got cholesterol in it. And dairy products, so that's cheese, ice cream, yogurt, milk, dairy products have cholesterol in it. So when you move more toward a plant-based diet, no cholesterol. So that's vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes, no cholesterol. Then you have to also lower your saturated fats. Saturated fats are one of the substances that can clog your arteries. Now think of your arteries like a water hose, So water goes through that water hose, and this is nice and open. You won't have any restrictions, nothing to block it. But now, if you stick mud in there, or if you stick chewing gum, or if you stick some clay in there, now the hole will be restricted. And it will be harder for the water to go through, which is going to cause pressure. And that same thing happens to us. So we want to keep our arteries open. We don't want to have surgery to open up our arteries that have been blocked. If the arteries are blocked going to the head, that's a stroke. To the heart, that's a heart attack. To the limbs, well, you may lose a limb. So we don't want to do that. There are things that we can do, and which is so amazing is that even when they've seen some blockage, those people who are doing some of the things that I'm getting ready to share with you, and some of the information that is even more exhaustive in some of the links that I'm going to give to you, they were able to have regression and have health and have a healthy life. One of the plant products actually two that are saturated, that is not an animal product, is coconut and palm oil. Now, palm oil and coconut oil are saturated, so those are some of the exceptions when it comes to plant food. Also, you need to look at trans fats. Now, trans fats are man-made fats, and we find them in baked goods, a lot of snack products, like chips and all types of snack foods like that, and a lot of baked goods. You may find trans fats in those. So you need to look at that. Or if you're going to get stick margarine or any type of margarine, look to make sure it says 0 trans fats, because we know that there's a linkage between eating trans fats and even certain types of cancer. You also want to increase your dark green leafy vegetables. I think Dark green leafy vegetables, if there's such a thing as a wonder food, that would be your wonder food. And we're talking kale, collards, mustards, turnip. Those dark green leafy vegetables are very good for you. Drink at least 8 glasses of water. Now, of course, depending on your size, you may need more, but at least 8 glasses of water. And exercise. Exercise 30 minutes a day. If you can get up to 60, fine, but at least start somewhere. You may have to start with 5 minutes. You may have to start with doing exercises in a chair. And I have a book where I go over office exercises, but or you can Google it. And half your plate. So I try to make sure that wherever I'm going, or if I'm fixing food for myself, that I'm having an apple versus a fruit roll-up. And I'm having at least half my plate, definitely colorful and fresh or a whole food. Increase your fiber. And fiber comes from plant foods. That's vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, and whole grains. Whole grains are oatmeal, brown rice. Don't get them refined, but make sure it's the whole grain. And quinoa, and there are a number of whole grains. You also, and legumes, peas, beans. These are places where you get fiber. And then I want to make sure you get quality sleep. And when I say quality sleep or quality rest, your body is made such that while you're sleeping, it can rejuvenate itself. It can build these healthy hormones that we need to keep us well. And we understand a couple of hours before midnight is the best, and you get the most sound sleep when you get a couple of hours before midnight. And it takes several hours to build these healthy hormones. So you want to do that with quality sleep. And quality sleep also means there's no noise in the room, there are no lights in the room. You don't know what your health profile is, that some things may not work for you. But for the majority of you, if you stick with it and you don't go on a yo-yo program on and off, I know you will get good results. I'm Donna Smith, and this is Sound Advice.